My grade 12 chemistry teacher, Miss Gillies.
Hands down, that would be Mr. Pastori, my grade 10 and 11 English teacher.
The one that I would pick would be Mr. Titchener, who was my grade 6 and also my grade 7 teacher.
Actually, two different teachers, Miss Candace Smith and Mr. Dale Cook.
The teacher that inspired me was my grade 2 teacher, Miss Richie Scott.
The teacher that inspired me, her name was Miss Nelson.
My grade 5 teacher, Miss Verhoff. The second teacher who really inspired me was Miss Cradinger Clark. She was my grade 11 and 12 French teacher.
Miss Christoph.
Her name was Mrs. Klosh, and she was my English teacher in grades 10 and what was OAC English.
It was my high school grade 9 art teacher, Deanna Hara.
The one teacher that comes to mind is Mr. McIntosh. I had him for grade 11 English.
So the teacher who inspired me the most would be my grade 8 teacher, Mr. Lambert.
So the first teacher that really inspired me was Mrs. Wilson. She was my grade 1 teacher.
For me, it was Mr. Court and Mrs. Percunier.
For me, it was Miss Locke.
Mr. McFetters. All my phys ed teachers go back to the very beginning, Mr. Glanfield.
So I went to McLaughlin High School in Oshawa, and there was 3 incredible teachers there. Mr. Bays, Mr. Treadgold, and Mr. Templin.
She taught me to never give up, and I wanted to give up on chemistry a lot because it was really difficult. She stayed after school every day with me and was always there for me. When some other teachers might not have been, she was always there. And I got a really good mark in chemistry.
You know what? He made learning fun. Shakespeare was so amazing in his class, and I still use the analytical skills that he taught us in that class till this day.
He was our homeroom teacher, and he was also the music teacher. And he had a very personable manner to him, and he was a lot probably like me in the sense of humor. He used to make a lot of jokes. He was very sarcastic. He was a British man, and he just was very dry with his wit, and that's kind of similar to who I am. So we kind of clicked, even though I probably made his life a little bit difficult for him. He was very inspirational to me.
Because Miss Smith taught me to be resilient and go after what I dreamt for. And Mr. Cook gave me the passion of sports phys ed, which led me into playing some professional hockey.
Because she made me feel special, she made me feel like I mattered, and to this day, I still remember her.
She inspired me because she was one of the best science teachers that I ever had when I was in high school, and that's why I'm a science teacher today.
And she inspired me because she made learning come to life in the classroom. She would decorate the classroom, every unit, and if we had, for example, the medieval unit, she would draw castles on murals, and we had a medieval fair.
She was a phys ed teacher, and she was all about bringing community together, checking in on students, making sure that everybody was involved. Didn't matter how good you were at a sport, but that you were part of our school community. She made school fun, and she is one of the reasons why I went to Teachers College and became a teacher.
She was remarkable. She was excited to be there every single day. She had amazing stories. She really knew her stuff. She got to know the kids. I was very lucky to have had her.
She was just someone who was very young and passionate about working with the arts and also with her students, and she never gave up, and she was just someone who really cared about her students.
So he was a really tough teacher, and I learned a lot in his class, and he inspired me to get better. At first in his class, I didn't do very well, and he really worked with me and helped me get a lot better, and I really appreciated that, and it's something I remembered later on in life.
He inspired me probably to become a teacher because he, really cared for his students, went that extra mile to push you to achieve your goals and work hard.
Just creative and always really happy, and to this day, Mrs. Wilson and I still get together for tea almost once a month. The other teachers were a group of teachers from Exeter High School. They kept giving me chances. They would call and make sure that I came to school, and they just went above and beyond.
I knew I wanted to be a teacher when I was in grade 2, and that was because of Miss Richie Scott.
Their caring and compassionate ability to reach students.
Miss Lai was so passionate about teaching chemistry, and she inspired me to go into sciences and become a chemistry teacher.
He taught me my last year of high school, and he was full of enthusiasm, full of energy, and he had this all this wisdom. I would call it old man wisdom, and now it's kind of a pleasure working with him side by side. Just that personality, just energetic, fun-loving,
constantly challenges you, and yeah, just inspired me to be a teacher as well.
Well, Mr. Bays was my coach, phys ed guy, so I dealt a lot with him with like sports and activities and stuff like that, and just a super positive guy, fun to be around. Mr. Treadgold was actually an English teacher, and I don't even like English, but he was an incredible guy. He also ran the school musical and drama, and even me, who was like a sporty athlete guy, became like this big, huge fan of like musicals and drama just because of Mr. Treadgold, so he was awesome. And then Mr. Templin, the third guy, was my science biology teacher, and he was incredible because he shared a lot about his personal life and how he overcame like some pretty serious struggles, and like I still remember everything he said and just how amazing he was, and that he's actually who I try to be like every day.
Thank you, Miss Gillies. Happy World Teachers Day!
Thank you, Mr. Pastore. Happy World Teacher Day.
For all the teachers out there, have a very happy World Teachers Day.
Thank you to both of them for inspiring me to who I've become today. Happy World Teacher Day.
Thank you, Miss Richie Scott. Happy World Teachers Day.
Thank you, Miss Nelson.
Thank you, Miss Kristoff. Happy World Teachers Day.
So thank you, Mrs. Klosh, and happy World Teachers Day.
Thank you to Deanna Heron. I know she's a vice principal in my old high school in York Region.
Thank you, Mr. McIntosh. Happy World Teacher Day.
Thank you, Mr. Lambert.
So thank you, Mrs. Wilson. Thank you, Mr. McFetters, and Miss Briard, and Miss Bell, and Miss Hunt, and everyone else who I might be forgetting, because you're all great. Happy World Teachers Day.
Thank you, Mr. McFetters, and happy World Teacher Day.
Thank you, Mr. Glanfield, and all my other phys ed teachers, Burford, Kennelly, my dad.
Thanks to Mr. Bays, Mr. Treadgold, and Mr. Templin. You guys were amazing. You inspired me to become a teacher myself, and happy World Teachers Day.